You guys are back in the old school. Hey guys, I'm the Retro Reject, and of course, this is a toy review, and, well, normally you would be seeing the black couch whenever I do a toy review, but I'm in college now, and I couldn't bring the black couch with me, so now the setting for toy reviews is a gray bed. So, rest in peace, black couch, we will always remember you. But anyway, today's toy review is not on something Power Ranger related, surprisingly. It's actually on something Godzilla related. And that, of course, is being the NECA Godzilla figure from King Kong vs. Godzilla. Now, this was a fairly recent addition to, my collection, and considering that this actually was released, not that long ago, because obviously what I think they did was because since there is that Legendary Pictures King Kong vs. Godzilla movie that's going to come out, they obviously wanted to do something to honor that, so they decided to make the NECA Godzilla figure. So anyway, of course, before we go reviewing the actual figure, we gotta look at the box. And the front is like a very cool looking Japanese poster of the original Godzilla vs. King Kong. Of course, some of the actors, the King Kong vs. Godzilla, King Kong and Godzilla on the front. And then on the side, it's kind of just a neat picture, once again, King Kong and Godzilla. And then the Japanese text. And then, of course, down here, just says the title, King Kong vs. Godzilla. And 65 years of Godzilla, can you guys believe it? From 1954 to 2019. I mean, seriously, I cannot believe Godzilla has been around for that long. But anyway, then moving on to the back, once again, like most boxes, it shows the features of this figure. It just has a picture of the figure right here. And then some text like that, Godzilla, will you win? And then, of course, obviously it says that in Japanese. And then down here once again, the figure, the battle of the century. And then down here, I kind of think is weird because technically what it says here is featuring heat ray blast. But it's technically not a heat ray, it's atomic breath. So, yeah, that, I don't know. But anyway, then also, of course, down here it says Toho with the Godzilla thing. And then usually I would tell you guys to pause the video to read the text down here, but I'm actually wanting to say the text right now because yeah, I'll just say it. The motion picture screen beckons you to adventure that thrills the emotions with shock and terror. Two giant monsters converge on Japan for a colossal collision, but in the final bout, which one will emerge victorious? Brace yourself. It's cataclysmic. It's catastrophic. The titanic, terrifying battle between the mightiest monsters of all time, King Kong versus Godzilla. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Then anyway, on the other side, it's nothing that special. It's the same thing. And then, of course, another little interesting feature about this box is that it actually opens up. Wait a minute. Where's the toy? Dang it, I bought a box that had no toy in it. Jeez, I got ripped off. Well, anyway, just Godzilla is actually out of the box right now. Yeah, but anyway, right here it just shows the figure and just a cool little pose. But anyway, now that the box is out of the way, let's actually get on to reviewing the toy. And here he is, Godzilla from the movie Godzilla vs. King Kong, in all his glory. And yeah, I am actually really impressed with this figure. It looks very accurate to what the Godzilla costume looked like in Godzilla vs. King Kong. And of course, like most toy reviews, I'll go over the articulations of the figure and just kind of give my own personal opinion on it. Now, of course, everybody knows the history of Godzilla. Like, he was an atomic dinosaur that was awakened by nuclear testing, in which then he wanted to destroy Tokyo and all that. But, of course, you could just watch the original Gojira, or Godzilla King of the Monsters, as it's known in America, or even watch the Godzilla vs. King Kong, which this figure is based off of, to understand Godzilla. But anyway, of course, I'm going to try to get a closer, let's actually get a closer look at the detail on him. So yeah, he is a really impressive figure. The texture just feels so scaly and hard. It's like you're actually holding a little miniature Godzilla in your hand. Very impressive. And his little claws down there, and his face. Now, of course, this costume design isn't exactly my favorite Godzilla design, and specifically this reason, because if you look at him like straight head on, he just looks so derpy and just a little bit dumb. That's why I kind of don't like this design for Godzilla as much. But still a very impressive figure. Now, I don't know if they actually had like a King Kong figure for NECA. Like, I can't remember if NECA made a King Kong for this, but all I know is that they made the Godzilla. But very impressive. Now, onto the articulation of the figure. So, right, of course, starting from the top up, his head can just like slightly can turn. Even go 360 degrees. But like, why would you do that? And his mouth can open, which is mainly for the reason because he can shoot his atomic breath out, which I'll get to later. And his neck can also go 360 degrees. Once again, I don't understand how that's even possible. But anyway, it's just kind of good articulation for the head. It can go slightly up and down. And yeah, that's it for the head. And then the arms are simple. Once again, it's a 360 motion. Kind of gets a little hard because the hands get kind of stuck around near his thighs. His big, like, look at these thighs, jeez, like, they are huge. He surely doesn't skip leg day. But anyway, they go 360. Now, of course, just to warn you about the figure, like the actual arm, like the little shoulders, like when you get to the elbow, it is really hard to bend the freaking elbow. Like, it's really hard. So really what I recommend you doing, like when you get the figure, like run it over some hot water just to try to loosen it up. But it moves very slightly, like it probably moves not a lot. It's like probably my estimate 45 degrees. So yeah, like I said, I recommend to like loosen up the joints in the elbow, probably run them over some hot water. But then the hands, they can go 360. And then his wrist, like his little fingers, they can go kind of closed in like that, so you can make him look like he's doing a fist. Or like giving like a "come get me, son," like stuff like that. So yeah, and then kind of the same thing with the other arm, but I find this one is actually kind of a little bit, but not as much looser. But like I said, probably run it over some hot water just to kind of loosen it up. And then just same thing with this arm, it can go 360 degrees. And I cannot underestimate by saying that, like, the texture of this Godzilla is impressive, because it just feels so scaly and bony, just like really hard. And that's kind of what I like about it. And I mean, if you press up against it too much, like I think sometimes I can get like the dead skin on my hands kind of starts peeling off. So yeah, it is an impressive texture. And then at his abdomen, he can slightly twist his waist, not by a lot, because the back fins kind of get in the way, not 360. And then the legs, they can go in a 360 motion. Well, not really, because they kind of get this kind of little bony texture right here, just kind of gets stuck there. So not exactly 360. And then kind of the same thing with the other leg. It can't go 360, but like if you tried really hard, I think you could, but just kind of that back portion kind of just gets stuck right there. And then his lower leg can twist, not 360. Well, actually, yeah. Just you have to like do it really hard. And then same thing with the foot. It can go 360. And then of course same thing with the other leg. And then onto the tail. Like each portion of the tail is kind of segmented, and like in the box you actually have to attach the tail to Godzilla. And what it recommends is that you have to run the tail over hot water, because like the ball joint that happens, like that's in here, like it's really hard to get it on when it's like stiff like that. So run it over some hot water just to get it loose, to get it in there. And so yeah, each tail segment can go 360 degrees. There's one here. So you can get some like really fluid tail action on Godzilla. So yeah, it's a lot of segments to his tail. So yeah, you can get some really good articulation there. Even the one down here. So yeah, like overall, this is a very impressive figure. Of course, my only complaints is that it's like he is really stiff. Like I said, you gotta really run him over some hot water just to kind of loosen up the joints, especially in the arms. But the texture of him is really impressive, and he's fairly cheap. He only goes for like about $20 or so, like where I bought him at. And then his only effect that he comes with is his atomic breath, and not fire breath that it says on the box. And then all you have to do for that is just kind of open up his mouth, and then I'll probably try to get a good look at it. Probably bring him over in the light. There's a little hole in his mouth where you attach the fire breath. So all you have to do is just kind of jam it up in his mouth. Kind of like King Kong sticking the tree up his throat, but this time it's his fire breath. And of course that kind of weighs down his head because it's like a long piece, but now it just makes it look like he's breathing fire. Well, atomic breath. Man, I'm even getting it wrong. And so that concludes the tour review. Now, I have to say, this is a really cool figure. If you are a big fan of Godzilla vs. King Kong, I really recommend you go buy it. Or if you're just a big fan of Godzilla in general, because he is a very cheap articulated figure. He only goes for about $20, at least from where I got him at. And, yeah, and my only little complaints is that, of course, you are going to have to run him over some hot water when you get him, because he is very stiff. But once you loosen him up, he is very articulate in many areas where he should be. Oh, and also kind of a big warning to people who are buying this toy. If you want to keep him in the box, keep him in the box. Because the thing is that since Godzilla comes separated from the tail, if you take him out of the box and put the tail on him, he is not going to be going back in that box, because it is really hard to take this tail off. And of course, if you don't want to risk damaging the figure, I really recommend that you try to keep this tail on and keep him out somewhere else, because there is no way you're going to get him back in that box. So if you are a collector and just want to collect a Godzilla figure and keep him in the box, keep this figure in the box, because there is no way you are going to get him back in there unless you try really hard. And the only other complaint I have is that it's more of a minor nitpick because I am such a Godzilla nerd. But the atomic breath should technically be tinted blue because in the movies it is more of a bluish color to it. But yeah, other than that, it is a really cool figure. Now, of course, personally, I don't like the design of the Godzilla vs. King Kong Godzilla. Just mainly because just when you look at him straight ahead, he just looks so weird. But I still love this figure, and I'm really glad to have it in my collection. The texture is amazing of this Godzilla. The articulation, like I said, even though it's stiff, it's really impressive. I love the feature of the atomic breath, which is like in most like other articulated Godzilla figures, because that's what defines Godzilla the best. Of course, yeah, it's just a really cool toy, and I'm really glad to have it. And so, yeah, I'm the Retro Reject. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, whatever the heck you want to do. And, of course, hit that little bell icon to get notified when the old school is back in session. And with that being said, the old school is out.